get up here in the Loft and get your head right.
All right, head right homies. What's up? Welcome to the Loft, your head right hangout. A blessed and groovy Monday to you. And even if you're living in California, y'all could use some grooviness, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you guys once again for tuning in to listen to your bro next door. You know, with opinion. Don't assume that you came here to get the news. If you did, something wrong with you. But if you just want to hang out, man, and just little chew the fat on like what's going on in the world, yeah, this is the spot. This is the spot to do it. At least I think so. I keep coming back. Yeah. Anyway, so first thing, let's talk about what's her name? Remember Greta Thunberg? Is that how you say it, Greta Thunberg? So she gonna get her little her publicity stunt on. She got a photo op that she going. That's an expensive photo op.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go get a boat. Let's get a boat. And I want to show people how wonderful I am. I'm such a wonderful person. And I'm going to go on this boat with a little bit of food that the people in Gaza can ration. You know, it's like, go ahead and distribute this little bit of food.
All 12 of them.
Yeah, all 12 of them. I think altogether they probably bought maybe a pickup, truck. Pickup truck bed full of food. Not even a semi, right? We got a truckload of food. What you mean that what? But that Ford Courier worth of food that you guys got? That's your good deed, Greta. How long is that food gonna last? That ain't gonna last that long, right? And she a gaslighter, man. She trying to say that they blew up, that they had a boat.
Yes.
And that the Israelis blew it up twice. Okay. Now look, maybe it was. You don't really have any evidence of that. There's probably more evidence that y'all blew them boats up yourselves.
Yeah.
And try to blame the Israelis. Okay. So as it is, look, if y'all want to bring some food into Gaza, I think y'all have a lot more support, than getting a yacht. They get a yacht. Mm-hmm. Right? Were y'all listening to?
It's called a selfie yacht.
Oh, a selfie yacht. Oh, okay, yeah. It's more like a selfish yacht. But y'all, I'm pretty sure that y'all have connections and resources at your disposal to go ahead and get a tanker, load that thing up with some food, dock that thing, like a little bit out and go ahead and, and boat you in some food to go into Gaza if you really wanted to help. There's some nonsense, so they get caught, they get apprehended by Israel's Navy. And, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that they weren't horrified by that.
No.
I bet you they weren't. It's like, okay, you guys it's like, were you guys worried about being tortured? No. Because that's not the kind of people that you guys got apprehended by. They giving you sandwiches and water, unless, I guess what's the torture? That the sandwiches might be, have meat on them? Right?
Exactly.
This had better be beyond meat. It had better be. How dare you? How dare you give me a sandwich that is this ham? It's actually quite delicious. It better be beyond ham, right? So, but anyway, how dare you? You've stolen my dreams. You've stolen my childhood by putting me on your boat, giving me water.
They're like acting like they don't want to eat the meat in the sandwiches.
I know, is that,
If I have to.
If we must, you imperialist pigs, and every other foul multi-syllable word that we learned in civics class. You have Greta, who obviously doesn't understand what's going on. She's clueless. She's trying to put out some video, instigating and saying that, while this is going on, the world is silent. The world is silent while this is going on. What the crap are all these protests going? There's a lot of protests going on, Greta. Don't think that you're the only one doing something because you and your friends went and got a boat, and put some, I don't know, some rations on it. Yeah, and you went and you're assuming to do something. And then what was the really big thing that the Israelis made them do? They made them watch video. You know, you had to, you know, you're in their custody. They're gonna make you watch video on what happened.
Yep.
And who knows, man? Maybe they might have a change of heart. Maybe.
I pray.
You know, like that, and that's what we pray for these folks, that they receive the Lord's peace and truth, man. But you know, I want to give the benefit of the doubt that they'll like be like, wow, I was shielded from this. I did not know that this is what happened, but it's not like you can't know. And these people are in denial about this sort of
we
stuff.
know. We saw a lot of horrific footage.
Yeah.
How they, like how you were reminding me before the show of how they treated the women that they captured.
Yeah. You know, this is just how they roll. You know, and the thing is, you know, but even if they show them this video, they probably like come out and spin it like, you know, they did some Clockwork Orange stuff on her, like they strapped Greta to a chair and put some things on her eyes to make her keep them open and watch them, you know, and program her, you know, like they did some 1984 stuff on her to make her, you know, feel like that she was compelled, you know, and forced, you know, force-fed, you know, to watch some videos, and you know, rather than, of course, being, I guess, conformed, you know, or reconditioned.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll become even more rebellious, you know, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry, you got to say it like the so-called conservatives say. She'll become more radical. She's a radical. You aren't freaking radicals, man. They're rebellious, right? But so that's you know, what's going on with Greta Thunberg, and you know, she's going to be released unharmed at some point.
Yeah.
If she hasn't been already or whatever.
What's the takeaway? Says, pretty sure Greta ate all the food, the Kool-Aid, and the packs of Funyuns.
These Funyuns better not have trans fats.
No, she's a Democrat. She loves trans fats. That's what basically all the vegetarian food is made of.
Yeah, even though, you know, they're supposed to have that stuff banned. You know,
Right.
Trans fats are bad for you, and have that stuff banned. But yeah, their food is over processed, you know, well seasoned cat food. So there you go. What do you guys think, man? Is Greta, obviously, you know, this publicity stunt that she's got going on, and man, these are people, they get funding, they get support,
Yeah.
you know, to do what it is that they do. The girl is clueless.
Very.
Clueless about what's going on, as are a lot of people. It's just, I don't know, she just happens to be able to make some money at it. You know, what's been going on with this conflict, man, it's beyond political, it's beyond cultural, it's beyond territorial, y'all. Folks need to understand, man, it's a spiritual war. They're not gonna fix it. You're not gonna fix it like this, Greta. And this is not gonna be fixed politically, with news narratives and all that sort of stuff, even militarily, okay, unless folks realize that this is a spiritual war. This goes all the way back to Abraham, man. That's how far back this goes. When Abraham was in the land that he was in, you had the Palestinians. Okay, so you go into Hebrew and you see the word for Philistines. Philistines basically means butthurt. That's what it means. It means to wallow in misery. That's what Philistine means, and that's what these people still do to this day. Just going around spreading butthurt. All right, and the word for Philistine is Palash, where you get Palestine. They're the same. All right, and this has been going on since then. And the Palestinians, man, they've been doing things to sabotage themselves. They was griefing with Abraham back in the day. In the land that he was in, man, they was going in and they was filling up the wells. They was filling up the wells that was there. Was it Abraham? It was as far back as Abraham, because they was jealous.
Yep.
They were jealous, y'all. It's the same crap to this day.
Yeah.
The word will tell you that's the language that the word is. They were jealous of Abraham. And it's that same kind of stuff that was with the Philistines, going all the way to Haman with the Persians. It was the same things with the Egyptians. It was the same thing with the Nazis. Jealousy.
Yeah.
You know, this stuff been going like way back, man, way back. Jealousy to a point of self-sabotage. What the crap are you going to go and start filling up the wells for? Why would you do that? For no good reason. Only what, out of spite? You know? So they go and they're going to go and re-dig up the wells, and then they're going to have beef about that. Right? It's like, dude, we dug those wells. We dug them. You go and fill them back up. We're going to try to dig them back up again, and you're going to come in and claim and try to claim the wells as like they're yours. Hell, what the crap? Y'all, this been going on for thousands of years. Man, for what good reason? You know what I'm saying? So I can look at the biblical narrative, y'all, which is going to give you the history of this sort of stuff. And people think that, this is like more recent than that. It's like, no, man, this goes way back. It goes way back. So anyway, Greta, you late, and you're standing up for the Palestinians. Look, I'm not trying to. It isn't about being all blind faith pro-Israel. Israel throughout their history, man, they've done a lot of things to sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is no exception, y'all. I'm sorry, man. They set themselves up for these things. I'm not trying to say that that they're as equally as evil, or they're just a lesser of two evils, or whichever. Maybe just in their naivete, or just maybe in, I don't know, a sense of instant gratification, or wanting some sort of social acceptance. Well, it really comes down to a spiritual component, that they're just not fully given over to the God who established their nation. They're not really understanding him for who he says he is. And what he says is, look, man, I've come to you in the person of my son, Yeshua ben Elohim. And you don't accept that. You have a track record of not accepting what I've said, and you've turned to other gods, and you've turned to other cultures, and you've turned to other ways, while still wanting the distinction of being Jewish, or wanting the distinction of being Israeli. You want this distinction as being a superlatives of the struggle. You want the glory of that. Mm-hmm. We're Hebrews. We've survived. We're survivors. We've struggled. We're Israel. We're the ones who have strived with God, who strived with God and man, and we're still here. You want the glory of that. But in terms of really appreciating and valuing being a nation that was established by God personally, and who would come through your nation to redeem all mankind, you rejected that. You turn to other gods and turn to other cultures and turn to other ways throughout your history. You call these things upon yourself. Okay? Now, so don't anybody get it twisted and think that I'm just blindly pro-Israel. I'm pro-Jesus.
Amen.
Okay? And for there, by that filter, is where I will give Israel the benefit of the doubt. Only because of that. Not because of what Israel has done personally, or what Israel's done, as a nation. Yeah. Historically, y'all keep turning against God. But the Lord says, man, hey, I'll bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you. Okay? So I'm not gonna be like, down with Israel or anything like that, but I ain't gonna sit there and act like there ain't nothing for you to be accountable to. I ain't gonna sit there and act like, y'all hadn't shot yourselves in the foot. We got a whole, to our Jewish population over here in America, godless. Both the overwhelming majority of them are Democrats.
Yeah.
Godless Democrats who do not value really what it is to be Jewish. They just want the distinction. They maintain the cultural narrative of it just so they can have the distinction of being members of a nation that has survived. That's it. in terms of credit to God who's established their nation and basically has made it to where they will be preserved. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about that. And that's really sad. So, you know, in that sense, I can understand, you know, Greta and people of the like having the attitude that they have. They have this attitude. It's an attitude that, you know, the Hebrews, they brought a positive, they sabotaged themselves in this. So that's why the word is saying, hey, this stuff is going to go on, man. You ain't going to see me until they say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
And, you know, and y'all, the thing is, this is going to go on, man. This is going to go on for at least another 1,000 years. You're going to have people like Greta Thunberg, you know, still doing this self-righteous, all this kind of self-righteous stuff in the service of Satan, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So after 1,000 years, after the millennial reign, Satan's gonna get back out there and do his business and gonna be coming against Jerusalem. It's the same thing. Gonna get out and deceive the nation. He's gonna do it in no time. It's gonna be easy. Right? It's gonna be easy. Yeah, look, this is gonna be. This has already been going on for thousands of years. Yeah, get ready for another 1,000 more, at least. It's written. Okay? Like I said, man, it ain't gonna be solved politically. It ain't gonna be solved culturally. It ain't gonna be solved militarily, because people don't understand that this is a spiritual war. And even those who are given up to the religious war and the religious aspect, their holy war aspect, even they're deceived about their holy war approach to it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing holy about your war. Is it spiritual? Oh, yes, it is. It is definitely driven by demons, but it ain't holy. And this is going to go on, y'all, for at least another 1,000 years. The clock hadn't even started on 1,000 years yet. So, but people going to be giving over to it, man. People going to want their own, even after 1,000 years. You going to see how it was with the angels. You going to see it. People going to have that same flipping attitude. It's how the war broke out in heaven. We want our own truth. We want to follow our own way and all that sort of stuff. For no good reason. For no good reason. All right? At the end of that millennial reign, Satan going to be he's going to be released on parole. He's going to be let out. Okay? Probably most likely because people going to demand it. Like they demanded the release of Tukey Williams.
Right.
Just in case y'all think I'm reaching. Just in case y'all think I'm reaching, man, that's how people will be. You got people who send love letters to murderers, man. Come on now. You think it ain't going to be the same way with Satan? People ask, like, why would God be so dumb? If God is real, why would he be so stupid to let Satan out? It's not because God is stupid. It's because people are stupid. They don't demand it. Hey, who would you guys rather see released? Jesus or Barabbas? Give us Barabbas. Jesus would perform miracles and all that sort of stuff like that. All right? But you're going to have people side with the wrong person, just like Greta Thunberg here, backing the wrong player. This is going to go on, man. And y'all, am I saying, dude, just throw your hands up and forget it? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if you really want this nonsense to stop, you need to follow Jesus for who he says he is. That's the fix, y'all. That is the only fix. You follow Israelis. Follow Jesus for who he says he is. Yeshua HaMashiach, he is your Messiah. Dig it. Okay, and the same thing with the Muslims. Like, look, man, stop trying to make up who you think Jesus is according to Al-Quran and going by this Isa narrative. That's dumb. Okay, and even Isa showed your Isa figure in Al-Quran was really more significant. He was the one who was actually helping people. How come you don't delve into that? Why are you so enraptured with Muhammad?
Yeah.
You know, when Isa was the one doing the real stuff, you know? So, and you'll go into this. Oh, actually, Isa. No. Let's find out what his word actually says about himself. Okay, But if people started digging into that, that's the answer. But see, people want their own truth. And that's what gives us chaos.
Yep.
So this is just going to keep on going on. And like I said, this has already happened with the angels. This behavior is going to be exhibited in humans too. It has been. People wanting their own truth. Satan wanted his own truth. He said, man, I'm going to ascend to the recesses of north above the stars of God. Right? That was his ambition. So you got people who have the same ambition. They think that they're above the existence of God, above answering to God. And so at the end of that millennial reign, you're going to have people. It's going to be a repeat. Going to have people. We want to follow Satan. We did it just like the even if that's a stretch for you. Okay, how about when the Hebrews were led out of Egypt, right after God had decimated Egypt, decimated their oppressors. Okay, after God, right when they led it, what they do? They built a golden calf, didn't they?
Yep.
Right? So what? You don't think that even after Yeshua reigns for 1,000 years, right? Ends corruption. Reigns for 1,000 years. You still don't have people think they ain't gonna want their golden calf. Oh yeah. Let us not be those people, y'all. Let us be those who are thankful and adhere to he who is the living law, and rejoice in his reign and not be deceived when Satan is let out, because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to want that. Yeah, even in the millennial reign. Just remember, y'all, in God's kingdom, even in God's kingdom, there were people who went sideways. The angels went sideways. It's going to happen with people too. So get ready for a lot of Greta Thunbergs, y'all.
Oh, boy.
All right. We got hundreds of years, hundreds of years ahead of us of people just like that. And we're going to have it. Why? Because people, too many, think that they're too good to follow Yeshua for who he says he is. Yeah.
Yep. Adam K says, envy is a terrible thing. At least jealousy can inspire someone to do better. Envy is basically saying, I don't want you to have the happiness and blessing. I want you to be miserable with me.
And misery does indeed love company.
Yes.
And thank you, because there is jealousy and envy. It's not really splitting hairs. There is a distinction between the two. I think people will have a little bit of a different take, but I think, it still kind of boils down to the same thing. You have your jealousy, God. Now, if jealousy, I would reckon, is, I would argue, and forgive me if I get it backwards to the person who's made the comment, jealousy, it's probably better to be jealous than it is to be envious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're arguing, Adam is arguing that being envious basically means you don't want the person to have the blessing.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we're on the same page. Jealousy, I would say, is better than being envious. You don't read about God being envious. You'll read about God being jealous.
Right.
Okay? Because jealousy, you can have healthy jealousy. Mm-hmm. A protective jealousy.
Yes.
All right? Jealousy is not always malevolent. It's like lies. A lie is not always malevolent. Okay? So like when people you'll have people out there, have you ever told a lie? Have you ever told a lie? It's like, well, you're a sinner, aren't you? The commandment isn't to not lie. The commandment is to not slander. So you have people out there who run that test to see if people have, broken any commandments. Like what's that guy? Comfort.
Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort, right? He's he's out there doing his work.
He is amazing,
right?
yeah.
He's doing his good work, but he's not really asking the question the way it's supposed to be asked in terms of lying. Okay, so he's asking if anybody's ever lied. Just because you've lied doesn't mean that you've committed a sin. Because the sin is not in the lying. The sin is in the slander. The commandment is specifically about slander. Do not bear false witness against your neighbor. All right? So it's the same thing, when we're talking about, what were we just talking about?
Jealousy versus
Jealousy.
envy.
Me and my rabbit trail, sometimes I need a little help getting that out of the hole. Right? So jealousy is the same thing. Just because you're jealous it's not even so much being jealous of somebody. God is hardly jealous of us. There's an approach to jealousy. He is not jealous of us. He's jealous over us. Like, say, for instance, like me. I'm jealous of, like a lot of these commentators, these influencers or whichever, who are able to get a whole bunch of views and all that sort of stuff. Some people are trying to accuse me of being jealous of it. It's like, dude, I'm not jealous of these people. I'm jealous over the people they're influencing.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a big difference. Because it sucks, man, that these people are, we look at the world around us like, man, the world is being driven crazy, man. Mm-hmm. You got these influencers, even the right-leaning ones. They're getting rich and famous off of helping people stay angry and stoking their pride. Okay? These people aren't they're not doing much better for what these so-called right-wing influencers are telling them.
Yep.
Any more than the left-wingers are. All right? So, am I jealous over the people that they're influencing? Yes. Only to that degree. Am I jealous of the people who are doing this? No. Hardly. All right. So, yes, thank you for drawing that distinction in terms of like envy and jealousy. I don't envy these people, not in the way of coveting.
Right.
I don't covet what it is that they have or anything like that. There's not a covetous aspect of my envy towards these people. But in terms of jealousy, sure, jealous over the people that they're, influencing, yeah.
Definitely. Of course, the chat just moved. What's the takeaway? Was asking, are you pre-mill? And he says he's pan-mill, however it pans out. Like, yeah, Zoe's pre-mill, but I think we would also go that way too.
Yeah, however it turns out.
I like pan-mill.
I don't. See, I think it's one of those things where I think a lot.
Oh no, it was Dust to Dust who said that. Sorry.
I like that. You'll have some who will say the bottom line is just be ready, which I totally agree with. That still kind of falls into the pan mill realm, if I can use that word. The thing about it though is I trust the Lord to not be ambiguous about such things. The only thing the Lord tells us really that is not going to be known, that can't be known, or something that's I don't want to say in the dark, that has us in the dark about things, is and I'll find a better way to say that in just a moment. Is the day of the Lord. That's the only thing. Okay, that is full-on classified information. Okay, so the day of the Lord, that's full-on classified information, even from himself. His day of deployment, as I said before, y'all, he doesn't live for that day. He already lived for the day that he would atone for us. For eternity past, y'all, that's something he's always known that he was going to do. Okay, live for the day that he would die for us. He lived for that day more than he lives for the day that he's going to judge us. Yeah. That was more important to him, to save us. Then the day of the Lord, he's like, look, hey, Pops, don't feel like you have to tell me when that is, man. Because when that day comes, that means I'm going to have to ride. I'm riding out to issue a bloodbath for real, against those who have been our enemies and the oppression that they have opened, on people. Okay, so all that to say, y'all, in terms of like the tribulation period, when the rapture is going to happen, those things are more accessible to be calculated, in terms of the rapture, tribulation. You have those who believe that the rapture can come as late as after the tribulation period. examining the character of God and the events of things and how judgment has come, the track record of God shows that he removes people before the judgment comes down. So tribulation, I don't even know if it'll be like a mid-tribulation point. I'm not sure. I do, however, think that the onset of tribulation will be something that the church will see. You know, even right now, we see facets of things that are happening naturally and technologically. We can associate these things with what it will be spoken of in the tribulation period, which will be supernatural things happening. But it's almost like these events are happening right now to make the plausibility of the supernatural more something more that people can get their mind around who haven't before. All right. I'll put it like this. There's things that'll happen first. This is kind of a bad example because it's still supernatural. But like, say, for instance, you know, with the Jews, it's like, why is it hard for you to process that Yeshua is your Messiah? Why is it hard for you to process that he was born of a virgin? And they'll try to make arguments like, you know, when it gives the prophecy of the child being born to a maiden, well, it doesn't mean that she was a virgin. It just means that she was a young girl, right? But it doesn't mean that she was a virgin. It's like, dude, everything in your scriptures is going to tell you that she was a virgin. It's her virginity is outlined. All right. You can go into Leviticus and you'll see how this stuff works. Yeah, but they overlook that and try to make arguments. All right. But the thing is, see, how is it that you can believe that Abraham and Sarah in their old age were able to have children? It tells you flat out that she was barren. Tells you that she was beyond childbearing years. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay. Abraham, it's like when she was going in and when he was going in different towns, man, they saw her and they said, man, that's a hot cougar right there. So she was sleep. Abraham's like, look, man, if you don't sleep with these cats, you know, they'll kill me. So you just tell them you're my sister, so they'll leave me alone, and you know, we got to do what we got to do to survive. It's like, so, but here's the thing, she never got pregnant. It was proven that she was barren. It's like, so no, Abraham, ain't nothing wrong with your seed because she can't get pregnant. It's been proven. She's been sleeping with other men. All right, but you got the Jews who can believe that we are of our father Abraham, so they can believe that. Right? So they can believe in the barren aspect of Rachel, you know, the other matriarchs who are barren and God opened up their womb miraculously. They can believe that, you know. And then just before Jesus was born or conceived, you got Zacharias and Elizabeth. Elizabeth was was barren and elderly. Right? So you gonna have that, and you gonna have the miracle just the same way. That's one of the reasons why Gabriel was mad. It's like, dude, you see me standing here in the temple, man. You know I'm not supposed to be in the holy place. I can't be in here, man. How are you gonna ask me for like some proof? You about to, man, I'm basically what's happening with you right now is reflective of Abraham and Sarah. You elderly, your wife is elderly. She gonna conceive. How you gonna, I'm bringing you this news, man. Getting you to recount what has happened. Same thing getting ready to gonna happen with you. And then when that happens, and they know that this is a miracle child, they still gonna be like, well, we don't believe that Jesus was born of a virgin.
Yeah.
So you can believe in the miracle birth of the elderly, but you can't believe in the miracle birth of Jesus? That don't make no sense.
No.
And this just happened, just like less than a year apart, right? You know what I'm saying? So you just have people who just gonna believe, you know, whatever, and accept the truth himself.
Yeah.
So let's check out. Let's do some other toe stepping here. Let's go into the riots that are going on this. What? Uh-oh, what's up?
Sorry, I just saw this. Is William Saranan Israel made her watch 40 minutes of uncensored October 7th footage. I certainly hope so.
I hope
they
so.
said they were going to.
Yeah,
but
good.
yeah.
And y'all, let's pray that they are truly enlightened, and have a change of heart, and don't be in denial about it.
Absolutely.
See these monsters, for who they are.
Yes.
And more importantly, that they receive the Lord's peace and truth to be like, my God, it's really going to take you to stop this.
Yeah.
We gotta accept who he is, and really ultimately it's just when he comes back. That's my hope. It's like, Lord, just come get us.
Yes.
Come get us, because we can't fix this.
Mm-hmm. Is there a Joe Messina show tonight?
Joe gave me a call. He's got some political business aside from the radio show.
Yes.
In his town.
He's on the local school board, and he does a lot of politicking in
Yes.
trying to fix his little town in California.
So evidently that's more important than being on the radio with me tonight.
How dare he?
How dare he? You've stolen my dreams.
Yeah, in your best Greta Thunberg voice.
So now, in I was gonna say Mexico, but I mean Los Angeles.
Sorry.
Huh?
William Saarinen.
So William.
Certainly hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. He says, though they are not Palestinians, Palestine is the name of the area that used to be Israel and Judea. It was renamed by the Romans as a slap in the face to Jews.
It's Palestine. If I may, and thank you, because you're kind of making my point. Here's the thing, Palestine, like I said, which comes from the Hebrew, is Palash, right? It's what they call the Philistines. Philistines coming from the Egyptians by way of Cassilheim, right? So even after Abraham, even up to King David gave the Philistines, he had a special name for them, right? The uncircumcised. Now, when he's calling them uncircumcised, now that right there is basically your general term for pagans, right? The uncircumcised. But he's like, look, who is this uncircumcised Philistine, right? So he targeted them. So when you have David, who was at war with the Philistine, the uncircumcised. Let's jump now to Samson. Let's jump on over to Samson. Samson was another archetype of Christ. Where was Samson? He was with the Philistines. Okay? He was with the Palestinians. That's Philistines and Palestinians, same things. When Samson destroyed the temple of Dagon and took them Philistines, well, what did he say? He said, let me die with the Philistines. He took out the temple of Dagon. What does Dagon mean? Who is Dagon? Dagon is the fish god. He's basically, I don't know, maybe like the equivalent of the Roman Neptune or Poseidon, right? He's a fish guy. He's a big old mermaid. All right, merman. I say the merman. The merman, right? So Samson destroyed the temple of Dagon. Now, let's jump to Jesus. Where was Jesus? Jesus is among the Palestinians. He's in Palestine. Remember, he's an archetype Christ. That's one of the reasons why, hey, what y'all want to eat? Y'all want to eat some fish? Are you picking up on who I am? I'm God over the god of Dagon, right? So he busted out that fish and bread, made them some fish sandwiches and stuff. Okay, so now the pejorative of Palestinians, y'all, basically, they were called, you got your Palestinian Jews. The reason why it's a pejorative is because you are now under subjugation of the uncircumcised. That's the slap in the face to the Jews, all right? That's the slap in the face that goes back to King David, who was like, look, man, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? He's about to get dealt with. Now, you went from David, who would deal with these people. Now you are under their subjugation. You are Palestinian Jews. You are subjects of the uncircumcised. So that's how that came about, y'all. That's the biblical account that takes precedence over the historical account. So I get what you're saying. This like Palestine is not this official place.
Right.
It's not this official like statehood or this place that's like etched out on the map, registered.
Yeah, it's not what the American culture thinks it is.
Yeah, it's a cultural pejorative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
What else? Oh, so we got
Moving on to Scheinbaum.
all right. Speaking of godless, Jews, and which aren't supposed. And y'all, I don't say that in terms of anti-Semitism. The real anti-Semites are the ones who are godless. They're against themselves. That's the insult to me, right? It's like, man, you don't appreciate, man. Your nation was established by God Himself. That's not good enough for you.
Yeah.
And you want
right?
to be this godless heathen, this socialist communist. And matter of fact, here's the funny thing. This what's her name? Claudia Scheinbaum, yep. Right? Y'all, it's funny. You have so for those who are La Raza, I mean, you talk about really just calling yourself a racist. It's like these people act like they hate racism so much, but they call themselves racist. La Raza? What? The race? The race. We are the race. The race above other races. You're a racist. Okay, but you got Claudia Scheinbaum, who is basically telling Trump, right? So Trump is making it to where these people, if they're making their earnings, we're gonna put a tax. Which, I mean, I don't know if I agree with this sort of stuff, because it's like you're allowing them to be here illegally and make money, and I guess as long as somehow it puts money into the economy, I guess you could stay here. And y'all, I'm telling y'all that's what the 3/5 clause is rooted in, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, you have Claudia is against this. She's against a tax. Right? She's against their income being taxed. And she's against their income being taxed to do what they want to do with it. This is my earnings. If I want to send my earnings to people in my family in Mexico, I should be able to do that. I agree. I agree. Okay, if you're here legally.
Yes.
If you're here legally, and that's the caveat, right? Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that in a second. If you're here legally, if you want to send your money to family in another country, that's your business. It's your money. It's your property. All right, the government does not have is not supposed to be able to violate your right to property. Okay, so you have Claudia, who is against Trump imposing a tax on these people.
Yes.
It's like, really? I thought you people hated capitalism.
She is an out socialist.
She's an out socialist. She's a confused socialist. If she's arguing that Trump should not be taxing these people, taxing their income, well, lady, you're a capitalist.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what's capital. People think, you got this person, this nut, was it Ron Goat Cheese? This nut out there talking about our enemy is imperialism and capitalism. Capitalism is our enemy. You don't know what the crap capitalism is, dude. You really don't. Capitalism isn't something that you confuse, that you conflate with aristocracy. Or the bourgeois. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing, man. It's not this material aspect or this class aspect that puts you above other people or making you a class of nobles that can do whatever you want. That is not what capitalism is.
Right.
You will find more of that crap that you hate so much in communism and socialism. That's where that stuff is mostly gonna be. All right, in these collectivist models, or these oligarchies or autocracies, that's the kind of stuff that you're into, man. When you want to go down this road of socialism and communism or this collectivist mindset, that's where you're going. You will have your classes of have-nots, a few and a few of the haves and a majority of the have-nots who will never be satisfied, as you assume that you could do away with the classes. It ain't gonna, man. No, dude, no. So you're trying to blame capitalism as this evil, malevolent system that is just based in total dishonesty and greed and all that. No, man, socialism is greed. It's a full-on system. Socialism and communism is a full-on system of covetousness and institutionalized theft under the guise of good intentions of taking from people and rationing out to others. There's no heart in that, man. There is no genuine charity. There is no genuine looking out for your neighbor with that. That is an institution that takes that away from you. You do not give freely. The Lord tells us, I give to you freely, and I expect you to freely give. You can't do that in a system of socialism and communism. It doesn't work, all right? Capitalism is what facilitates that. You think that, and the Word of God tells us to be capitalist, because God recognizes our property.
True.
All right? It's like, this is yours. Yeah, I blessed you with it, but it's yours. And with that, let people glean your fields, man. That's how true charity works. And only capitalism facilitates that. All right? Y'all trying to make it like capitalism is just about being free to rob other people or gouge people or extort people. That's nothing of the sort. It's nothing of the sort, man. You know, that's just people like either breaking the law or taking advantage of people. All capitalism is, y'all. All it is. And it sucks because you got the people who's supposed to be pro-capitalist. They can't sell us worth a damn. They think that capitalism is something. They just think that capitalism is all about. I'll give you an example. Rush Limbaugh is supposed to be one of the biggest, but Rush Limbaugh, who I was a big fan of. Big fan of Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, we kind of grew up listening to him.
Yeah, worst advocate for capitalism ever. Worst, right? You got people out there who think that capitalism, well, it's funny that you're against capitalism. You certainly seem to be enjoying that iPhone, and you certainly enjoy having that drink from Starbucks. What the crap does that have to do with capitalism? Nothing. That is not indicative of capitalism. All right, and Trump would be, Brush would be like, you know, yeah, Bill Gates was a real capitalist, and because Bill Gates stopped his charities. He cut his charities down that he was giving to people, and I guess the liberals saw him real evil for that, and Rush is like, hey, he's just being a real capitalist. It's like, wow, man, that's him deciding that he wants to cut his funding to charity doesn't really have much to do with capitalism. Matter of fact, if you're in this system, if you're giving to charity, you're doing that partly to offset what you're going to be taxed. These are write-offs. You know what I'm saying? So even in that, true capitalism isn't even at the core of it. And just because he decided that he's going to cut funding to some charities that he was giving to, that's what you want to call real capitalism, because he's going to keep more of that money to himself and reinvest into his business? That's a horrible sell of capitalism, man. A horrible sell. Right? And it's one of the reasons why the so-called right wing can't sell capitalism, because they think that capitalism is just all about making money and enjoying materialism. That's why people conflate capitalism with being bourgeois and associated with being an aristocracy. That's why. You know, the Republican voter, by and large, has done themselves the greatest disservice of us being able to enjoy capitalism. We hadn't even been capitalists, man, for over 100 years. You know, all capitalism is that the state has to recognize that your income is your property. You can't be perpetually taxing these things like capital gains and property taxes. You can't do that. You can't levy against people's property without due process. You can't do that. It's antithetical to our Constitution, antithetical to our rights. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the mainstream Republicans out there, all these influencers, do they say that? No. They may say taxation is theft. Taxation isn't exactly theft. All right? It's not exactly theft. We have a tax model of how the government is supposed to be funded. Certain kinds of taxation is, right? So income taxes, capital gains, property taxes. Anyway, y'all, back to, what's going on,
we have somebody in the chat, new, Aphrodonadol.
What's the name?
Aphrodonadol.
Aphrodonadol, sup?
She says no self-respecting black man would ever cape for capitalism. I'm guessing she doesn't like to keep the money she works for, and she'd rather have the government take it over and spend it for her.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you not? I mean, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Are you not capable? Are you not capable of knowing what to do? I mean, if you were capable to earn the money, I reckon, maybe smart enough and whatnot to be able to earn your money. Are you not smart enough to know how to spend it, save it, invest it? Are you okay that when you get your check, I'm going to assume that you work.
Yes, she's
right?
a nurse.
Yeah, okay, you're a nurse. So is it okay with you that when you get your check, you got your gross pay? And it's like, ooh, look at that gross pay. And then you look at your net pay by what the state has taken. They took that. And I mean, if you're okay with that, here's the thing. If you're okay with that, then you should go ahead and make that arrangement with the government yourself. But to impose that on everybody else, right? To impose that on everybody else. And don't think I forgot about this self-respecting black man sort of thing. So according to you, because I'm black, I'm predisposed to have to think a certain way. And you assume to disqualify me as a black person because I don't think your way? See, I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do that to you. And the thing is that you're beholden to people who have basically put shackled your ability to be able to really thrive in the way that you should be able to thrive. You're shackled to a narrative, but you want to accuse me of not being self-respecting. Now, I mean, hopefully she's being sarcastic. She's being sarcastic or facetious. No, she's serious.
I don't know if she lives in Denmark, but she's saying it could be a troll. It might not even be a she. She might be confused as to what he is. Denmark spends 40% of my income to universal health care and education. That's great. Denmark doesn't have to worry about self-defense.
Yeah.
We are their self-defense. So they have lots of extra money to spend on things like health care.
Y'all send those arguments after us. Like y'all don't have the budget expenditures that we have. All right.
And Denmark is tiny.
Yeah, you don't have the population. You don't have these things that you have to be able to allocate resources towards, to the degree that we do, and especially when you have you're kind of under another country's protection and provision to be able to do such things. When you have places like Switzerland and stuff like that who talk about what they're how they spend their money and how they're able to do certain things. It's like, look, that's a whole lot. You talk like that, like as if the people have this choice to be able to do certain things, the free will choice to be able to do that. What you're going to spend money on, you take from the people to be able to ration out these provisions for the people, as opposed to the people being free to do it themselves. And it's unfortunate that you have people, who don't give people the chance to do that and just assume that this is what they're going to do in a setting that you haven't even really tried it. Right? So, at this, gonna assume to tell me that, that I'm not self-respecting. I think it shows a lot of self-respect when I'm like, dude, I can handle my finances. See, the thing about healthcare, you're hung up on this healthcare thing, and people spending or the state facilitating healthcare, like you value healthcare so much, and you value education. You don't value healthcare. You don't value education. You really don't. If you think that healthcare is something that you should get for free, you really don't value it.
Amen.
You really don't. If you think that education is something that you should get for free, you really don't value it. If you value something, you pay for it. That's the way it is. And so you want basically, you're okay with being a serf to the state. You have to provide this service. All right. People have to come to you and you have to take care of them. That's like slavery. You got to take care of them for free. So you get your wages. But the thing is, even your wages are owned by the state. You get issued a recompense. That's not really freedom. So it's a shame that you got people who they think that it's so noble because our health care is free. You don't really value health care. I understand that healthcare can be very expensive. And that's one of the reasons why we have things like insurance. But insurance is made expensive because of greedy people who think that they should have more, and they think that their health care, even though they're very irresponsible with their health, they think that their health should be the responsibility of society.
Yep.
Instead of being mindful of their own health. But they want other people to have to be mindful of their health. That's not right, you know? So we make it difficult for insurance companies to compete with each other. And when they can compete with each other, they're going to be trying to look, man, I'm going to try to give you the best service for the lowest cost. But when they're kept from competing, well, you're going to get high prices. And then you're going to have people be like, well, see, the insurance companies are just a monopoly. And that's really the state pitting them against each other so the state itself can be the monopoly. And you want to act like the state are just loaded with all these angels, right? Like Milton Friedman would put it. Who are these angels in government that you think is going to do no wrong and just going to do everything honest?
She's telling us in the chat how all these angels are in Denmark and in the government taking care of her.
Yeah.
Taking care of each other.
The thing is, you're going to have people, when it comes to themselves, that's all they can say. They don't really see what's going on with anybody else.
Yep.
You know, they really don't. And once again, you don't have in Denmark, you don't have the expenses. And those expenses in Denmark are also facilitated by other nations. You know?
Correct.
So,
you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's like you can thank more of capitalism being the engine of that, even though we haven't even though we don't even have true capitalism here. The benefit of being able to to send these kind of funds to other nations, well, whatever close to capitalism that we have makes that possible, right? So, anyway, I'm trying to get to Mexico.
Yes, let's get to Mexico.
Let's get to Mexico. We done gone to Denmark. Let's get on back here to Mexico. So, you have these riots that are going on, y'all. I know I'm going to really
the riots in LA.
Right. What did I say?
You just said the riots. I just want to make. There's so many riots going on.
Right. So the riots in LA.
From the peaceful people.
From the peaceful people, right? I'm probably going to step on some toes here. And for anybody that, we care about who are living in California, well, we hope that you just get out, because I personally think California, just let Mexico have it. Yeah, that's my take on it, man. See, a lot of so-called, these mainstream Republicans, man, they think that California, when you talk about like Aslan and reclaiming the Southwest territories and claiming California, and these people can go get bent California as Americans and it's ours and all that sort of stuff, and we got it fair and square, and you're just mad and whatever. I'm like, man, slow your roll with that. That might not be the case. All right, that might not be the case. So these people, you got this nut, Ron Goat Cheese, who hates capitalism and
goat cheese,
and hates and hates imperialism and all that sort of stuff. Man, listen, capitalism ain't got nothing to do with what you're mad at. The thing that's hurting you is like you want to invoke names like Hugo Chavez and all that sort of stuff. Man, capitalism did not do capitalism did not do what Hugo Chavez did to his people. All right, that wasn't imperialism. That wasn't imperialism from us. That wasn't capitalism from us. That was your socialist model. That's what happened. That's what destroyed. Okay, and you want to invoke him as a person to look up to and all that sort of stuff. Man, you got that way twisted. But Mexico and California, yeah, let them have it. Let them have it. And see, and the thing is, for Republicans, you would do yourself a favor. You would do yourself a favor by saying, yeah, you know what? Mexico, you can have California. You're right. Mm-hmm. You are right. This land was taken from you. It was. Right? It was taken from you. Go ahead. So, because here's why. But you ain't gonna have Republicans saying that. I mean, Republicans will say things like, "Well, I wish California would just fall into the sea," and
I've said it myself.
Yeah, they'll say things like that. But at the end of the day, they're still gonna say that California, that America didn't assume Mexico by any nefarious reason or by dirty. It was one fair and square. It's fair and square. And see, this is another reason why people think the parties have switched sides, right? See, California was apprehended by President Polk. And President Polk was a Democrat. Now, arguably, under what do we call it, a black flag, there was a false flag that started that war. Polk was like, the Mexicans are they're killing Americans on American soil, gaslighting people. So the war was engaged under false pretenses. They said, oh, well, we tried to buy it. They don't want to buy it. I mean, they don't want to sell it to us. They don't want to sell it. So we're going to go to war, right? Remember, Polk was a Democrat. And Lincoln, before he was president, so while he was in his a congressman, he was a congressman. While he was a congressman, he told Polk, he's like, man, don't do this. You don't really have the justification for the war. You haven't substantiated your case for going into this war. And I know what you think of Mexican people. And you're a pro-slavery Democrat to boot. Right? So the Democrats are the ones who took Mexico. And the Democrats took California.
When it was Mexico.
When it was Mexico. They took it. Democrats running it today. They basically turned it into Mexico. They'd have messed California up. Polk was thinking, and the thing is, Polk was like thinking, man, Mexicans, they don't know what to do with this all this resource. It would be better in the white man's hands.
Yep.
It'd be better in our hands. We gonna manifest destiny up in here. We gonna expand and we gonna have slavery all the way to the coast. And Lincoln's like, man, don't do this, dude. Don't do it. Right? Lincoln, the patriarch of the Republican Party. See, a lot of Republicans, they done lost that vibe. You know what I'm saying? So it was Democrats who have been messing it. They went and took it, and they messed it up to this day. I mean, California was a decent place for a while.
Oh gosh, yes.
But that Democrat spirit just went buck wild, man, and just messed California up. Okay. But Republicans should be. And now, is it going to be a case where Mexico is going to be able to reclaim California? I mean, as long as it's in Democrats' hands, yeah. But
They
Republicans
essentially have.
Yeah, essentially, huh? But Republicans should be making the case. They should be out there saying, "Hey, look, yes." But once again, Republicans ain't gonna do this, man. When they should. They keep following this mainstream approach to this stuff, and this is why they constantly lose in the culture. You can turn this stuff back around on the Democrats' head, but they won't do it. It's a political judo, man. I'm trying to tell you, Republicans, the patriarch of the Republican Party, Lincoln, was saying, do not do this. All right? And Republicans need to be invoking that and be like, look, hey, Mexico, in terms of imperialism, in terms of underhanded deals, yeah, that did happen. The Democrats are the ones who made that deal. The founding of our party was against it. The Republican Party hadn't been established yet. Lincoln was still a Whig at the time. Right? He was still a Whig at the time. But he's a patriarch of Republican. But he broke away from the Whigs to become Republican. All right? But this is at the roots. Because his mindset was still the same. He went into politics with, why did he go into politics in the first place? He'll tell you that his motivation for going into politics was to end slavery. That's why I'm going into politics. That was his main motivation. All right? And slavery being expanded to the coast and taking over California from the Mexicans, just so you can have more slavery there. Lincoln's like, no, dude. You know? So Republicans need to be saying, hey, Mexico, we understand, man. I mean, it is what it is now, right? It is what it is now. You know, we do have borders. It's an aspect of America. You know, we want to try to work it out with you because we do know that the Democrats did take this land from you. The war was engaged. It was a false flag. All right? That's a real thing. And a lot of times, y'all, it may be just in the admission to help. Y'all, at least you can turn who their focus of the enemy is, at least. Say, look, and just agree. Say, yes, it was the Democrats who took this land from you. It was an underhand, it was a war under false pretenses. They did this to you. All right? If you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at them. We agree with you. Now let's see what can we do. Now that we have clarified who the actual enemy is, let's see if we can go ahead and start setting the record straight about stuff. You know? But is that going to happen? No.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, y'all, that's what I got for what y'all got before we get on out here. What you got?
You were. So the Mexican president is upset that America might tax the remittances going back to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And she's also saying that the people who immigrated illegally over here are just good men and women looking for a better way of life.
Girl, what they need you, then you're not a very good president. It's like, we need to get away from her. She sucks. We're going to America. They say, that's a bad sell of yourself, woman. You're not promoting your presidents over Mexico very well. Man, we trying to, all y'all, see what y'all see is imperialism. You just think that, we just want to take over the world and all that sort of stuff. It's like, no, man, we want you to be sufficient on your Mexico. You got resources, man. You got great. Your location is good, man. Where y'all are situated, and you could do so much more. But you hung up, on our territory. And once again, the terms or the premise of the war, questionable. Republicans need to be calling that out. But the bottom line is, it's like, where does it stop? Let's say we go ahead and give California and the Southwest Territory, you go ahead and give it back to Mexico. Well, obviously you're not doing what you need to do with the territory that you have. You got good resources still where you're at. What you doing with them? Are you going to be satisfied if you get this Southwestern Territory? You mean to tell me that you ain't going to keep wanting to expand? Y'all the ones who sound like imperialists. You're not going to want to cross them borders into American territory still then? Probably are. All right? And are. We got sanctuary cities all over the place. So don't tell me that, you just going to get this area, then you're going to be happy and that's where it's going to stop. What's somebody saying?
There's a lot going on in the chat.
What's going on?
Mark speaks another language. It's fun. Just say that. The goat cheese guy. Mm. So that's what we were going to talk about too. Is where's all the money coming from for these LA riots?
Oh.
And it's what is it, Neville?
Neville. Is it Neville or Neville?
Yeah.
Neville. Forgive me. Something. Berg.
Sanger? Sanger?
Sangheim.
Yeah.
Yes, Sangheim. I'm sorry. I'm like Berg.
And apparently he made billions propagating Chinese lies all over the world, propaganda all over the world, and now he's funding socialist groups. Our chat members should be happy about that.
What is it with y'all in socialism,
right?
Man? And you got these cats who will constantly bring up the Holocaust. Yep. I don't know if maybe he's a Holocaust denier. I don't know. But there's
most likely.
But you gotta have the secular Jews who always throw this stuff. Why would you want to be socialist if you're gonna throw the Holocaust in people's face? I ain't no Holocaust denier. You're more of a Holocaust denier than I would ever be.
Yes.
If you're gonna invoke the Holocaust and be a socialist, there's something freaking wrong with you. Okay? You do understand that the Nazis were socialists, don't you? Nazi, it's an acronym, National German Workers' Socialist Party. For those who think that socialism is so wonderful, like what's it, Afrodana in Denmark? Yeah, that's
Afrodana is fine.
That's what socialism does. That's what socialism and communism does. Capitalism doesn't do that. Okay, capitalism doesn't go out and wage genocide against people. Doesn't do that. Governments do that. All right. So a system of capitalism doesn't do that. But in socialism, communism, whether it's Hitler, whether it's Mussolini, whether it's Stalin or Lenin or Pol Pot or Mao Zedong, Hirohito, when you want to have these collectivist models, people die by the millions and millions under genocidal campaigns to force this model that you get to enjoy now, right? Where you better stay in line and do that, or else, and that's one of the reasons why the Berlin Wall was built. It wasn't to keep people out, it was to keep people in, and you are gonna stay in this model. But hey, everybody's taken care of in our healthcare system here. Hey, where are you going? Hey, I wanna be a doctor, and I wanna be a doctor on my own terms. I don't wanna have to be forced to be a doctor. Oh, okay, Mr. I don't wanna be forced to be a doctor. There's the gate. And when they try to leave, pop, 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 get shot in the back. All right, you gonna serve the state. Capitalism doesn't do that. Socialism and communism does. All right, so I don't know. Was the Berlin Wall built by capitalism? I don't think so.
Nope.
Right?
I highly doubt this person knows what the Berlin Wall is. She's not that educated. Plus, I know they're not doing that in Denmark yet because, like I keep reiterating, Denmark is taken care of by the United States. They don't have to worry about anything. They have a lot of money to play with. Same thing with France, same thing with Germany. We protect everybody since World War II. They don't have to worry about protecting themselves. They have lots of money to play with.
Yeah, it's fantastic when you can be a country that can be taken care of by a country that really doesn't have any money.
Right? That's sad.
Yeah.
A broke country taking care of you.
That's the thing.
Wow.
Right? We broke as all get out, man. Our money is what? We got fiat money. It's not. That's it. It's not really backed by anything, and still we can use that money to take care of y'all. Anyway.
Yeah. We'll go out on this. Jay had a question. He says, asking for a friend, what are your speaking fees?
Well, due to the present economy and inflation, I need to go out. Admittedly, I'd have to work out another fee schedule. I used to speak for about 30 minutes. Was about 700 plus traveling. So plus the cost of travel and lodge and whatnot. So 700.
But I'm not allowing you on airplanes anymore since we have all these.
I know, right? Yeah, and plus that you got to have that.
Can't handle it.
Yeah, and you got to have that real ID anyway, which we decided because we were like, no, we're not doing that. That's that globalist stuff. So all it is, man, it's just another step towards globalism. So
yep.
We don't get to be on an airplane. But yeah. I hope that kind of answers the question, but that's what I used to charge.
Inflation and all.
Right, since the present economy now, might warrant an increase. But thank you for even considering it. Thank you so much for even asking.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Will there be a Zopium Den tomorrow night?
Oh, Zopium Den, in case folks missed, I gave an announcement, and you guys know notifications don't really go out from me. I'm sorry, I do try. I'm postponing Zopium Den for a little bit, and the reason why, in case people are wondering, if you're wondering when there's going to be a Zopium Den, is probably wondering why they're on hold. I try to inventory my studies all and have them ready. As far as 3 months, like a season's worth, studies that, I've prepared, to be able to do. And, I've exhausted that, it's like, I try to keep ahead of them and try to build them, but sometimes but it's gotten to a point I run out of them more than I can build them. So I got to take a break and build the studies, back up, go through my chapters and my, and do my studies based on them, build my inventory back up. And then, hopefully, a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that. We'll get back into the groove. It might take more than that, but I don't know. I'll try. I'm gonna try to get back on it as soon as possible. But I got to build build my season back up. Yeah.
So will you be streaming a Zoloft this week?
Yeah, today, probably maybe another one on Wednesday. I'm trying to keep it to Mondays and Wednesdays, but sometimes it just depends on what comes on in the news cycle. Because I'm trying to juggle other things. As I've said before, y'all forgive me if I'm kicking a dead horse here. It's like one of those things where the Zoloft, it's like I can't afford to do it, but at the same time I can't afford not to do it. And I'm trying to do other things to supplement. Patreon done messed with. I shouldn't say Patreon, Apple, but Patreon, you messed around with Apple, and Apple is messing with you, and it's messed with how we're making money because they're not clear about what it is it's supposed to do.
Yeah, basically Apple wants a third of our income now for processing payments, so they've taken a third of our income.
Yeah, so they want to charge 33%, or is it like 30% or something like that, for when you want to become a contributor. And it's if you use their app, just don't use their app, okay? But they want you to use their app, y'all, and they're forcing Patreon to become a subscription model as opposed to paying per video. So they've made it to where you're supposed to go ahead and select, or they're going to do it automatically, and you don't even know if they've done it automatically or not because they were supposed to do it in 2024. But then they say they're going to do it in 2025. But no matter what, they're going to automatically do it. When that's going to happen, I don't really know. So in trying to go ahead and just conform to the subscription model, and you don't know if you've done it right because you can't hardly talk to anybody, and they're not. And it's like, whatever it is that you told me to do, I did, and you're telling me that I did it wrong. So you don't know what you did. And the end result of it is that it's greatly affected my income. So I don't know if I'm on a subscription model or if I'm still on per video. So that's one of the confusing things about it, and it's kind of frustrating. So, but I'm trying to do I'm trying to get more back into music videos, trying to do some martial arts videos. I really need to get to start filming or recording the Zopium Den in the comedy show that I'm wanting to do, and I still got to get the Zoloft comedy show that I'm trying to do. So in doing that, that's one of the reasons why it becomes like sporadic about like when I can just get on and do the Zoloft.
Yeah.
So I'm a bad manager of time. That's really what it comes down to.
No, you just have so many things you have to pack into the little time you have.
Trying to do my part, man. It's to get this message out into the culture, in different ways.
Robbie says, remember pay to play in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
Pay to play is basically if you want to play at a venue, you got to sell tickets.
Oh, yeah. Yuck.
Yeah, that kind of sucked. The thing that sucked about it is when you have promoters out there who say, you pay me and we'll get these tickets, so
right.
They never do.
They don't. Yeah.
They don't.
Because they got their money, they're good.
Yeah, the only thing that they really have is they have the connection to the venue, and which you can really go and do yourself. But for those who are they get their band together and they want to get out there, and it's like they can be seduced by a promoter who will say that I can get you into this venue. I know the owner and or the booking who does the booking there and all that sort of stuff and Hollywood, pay to play.
Typical Hollywood.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope I said something useful, and thank you guys for your input and helping to keep the Zoloft lights on. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Hope you become a member if you haven't already. Thank you so much for y'all who drop a buck in the bucket, keep Bro Zo on the go. Y'all have a groovy and blessed rest of your evening, and we will do it again soon, baby. All right, y'all. Bye.